The needle is attached to a stud. I'll remove the clamp, then pull the needle out. It'll leave the stud behind." Kieron felt a sharp pain and a tug on his lip as the needle went through, then some fiddling as the man removed the clamp. He braced himself for a sharper pain as the needle was pulled out, but he hardly felt it. Maybe the wet wipe had some anaesthetic on it, and it had just kicked in. A dull ache started up as the man leaned back and gazed at his handiwork. "Perfect. You all right? Not going to faint?" Kieron shook his head. He thought he could taste blood, but he wasn't sure. "Ready for the next one?" He nodded. Again the clamp was applied to his lip, but this time he didn't even feel the needle going in, let alone coming out. As the man replaced the clamp on the counter, Kieron touched the studs with his tongue. First left and then right. He felt a slight jolt as the tip of his tongue met the cold metal, like a very small electric shock. Experimentally, he moved his lips and waggled his jaw. The studs had gone in higher up, so they didn't clash unless he deliberately rubbed his lower lip against his teeth. "Finished. Don't eat or drink anything for half an hour. Come back in 2 weeks and I'll replace the studs with rings. All part of the price. Talking of which, if you could pay the lovely Maria there on your way out, £30, please." He stood and moved past Kieron to a small wash basin. Kieron levered himself to his feet, feeling slightly woozy, and stepped over to where Maria already had her hand out expectantly. He fished around in his pocket for the cash he'd painstakingly saved up from the pocket money his mum gave him and handed it across. It was a lot, but he'd wanted these piercings for ages. Outside, the cool air hit him. He could feel beads of sweat on his forehead. "What do you think?" he asked as he approached Sam. His friend frowned. "Sorry, what?" "Don't muck around, you heard me." Sam smiled. "Yeah. Actually, they look great. Better than I expected. What do you think your mum's going to say?" "The question is, how long is it going to be until she even notices?" Kieron could hear the bitterness in his voice, and hated himself for it. "She's still doing overtime?" Sam asked. "Every shift she can get. Then she spends the money she makes from the overtime on presents for me because she feels guilty about doing the overtime. What's that phrase? Vicious circle? That's what we're trapped in." Sam nodded. He glanced at Kieron's piercings again. "My sister told me about some guy she had come in an accident and emergency. He'd had a piercing just like yours, except he'd already had the studs replaced with rings. Apparently, he was eating dinner one night and got the fork caught in one of the rings. In his panic to get it out, he ended up tearing his lip open. Nasty." Thoughts of Sam's sister, Courtney, made Kieron's cheeks feel hot. He knew he was blushing and didn't want Sam to see. Trying to change the subject, he said, "You're just jealous. Scare stories aren't going to put me off. Here, if you want to desecrate your own body, you go ahead." Kieron bristled. "At least I'm desecrating the outside of my body. I've seen the amount of highly caffeinated energy drinks you chug every day. Your liver is probably making plans to move out, even as we speak." Sam frowned. "I think I saw that film. Or did I dream it?" Gazing over the edge of the balcony, Kieron said, "See down there? That's where we were sitting a week ago when we saw Bradley Marshall being attacked." Sam nodded. "Just think, if we'd been at a different table in the food court, or if we'd decided to go somewhere else or left sooner, we'd never have got involved in all this." All this. Simple to say, but when Kieron thought back over what had happened in the past week, he felt his head spin. 1 week ago, he'd been a disaffected teen, watching the world pass him by and thinking about how boring and stale everything was. Now he could say that he'd helped an MI6 agent recover a stolen nuclear weapon and prevented several other nuclear weapons being detonated in cities across the Middle East and India. Well, to be fair, he couldn't say anything of the sort. He'd been sworn to secrecy by the agent in question, Rebecca Wilson. Bex, as she liked to be known. And nobody would believe him anyway. Apart from Sam, who'd shared the adventure.